Finally. We need help. There's someone that fell down. Medic. They're coming right now. Make a path. Thank you. Raise your hand. Whoever's near the person that fell, raise your hand. Make a path. Whoever's over there, please come forward. Make a path for medic. They're right here. We take care of each other, right? Finally, corporations, the establishment, pharmaceutical companies, the mainstream media, the prison industrial complex, defense industries, the fossil fuel industry. Doggone it, everybody's against Bernie Sanders. But you know this, y'all. When they go low, we canvass, we phone bake, and we get people out to vote for Bernie Sanders.
Please welcome to the stage the chair of the Orange County Democratic Party, Ada Briseño.
Buenas tardes, Santaneros. How are you feeling? My name is Ada Briseño, and I came to this country when I was 6 years old, when my family fled a brutal civil war in Nicaragua. I got my start as a hotel worker, and for nearly 3 decades, I've been standing up for social justice and workers' rights. Today, I'm co-president of Unite Here Local 11, a union representing 32,000 workers. And as you heard, I'm the chairwoman of the Democratic Party in Orange County. I am so proud to speak to you today. Why? Because Bernie Sanders gives working families in our communities a reason to vote. To use one of the most powerful things we have, our voice. More than any other candidate, Bernie stood with us. And more than any other candidate, he stands with my values. He showed up for workers I have represented over and over again. This country had given up on unions. Most politicians forgot that we built the middle class. They were afraid of saying the word union, not to upset corporations and the wealthy of this country. That has never been the case for Bernie Sanders. He is up front and center and made sure that other presidential candidates had no choice but to make sure that they were putting unions on top first. He stood with my workers, our workers, and took on Disney, one of the most powerful, one of America's most powerful corporations. He came here to Orange County to have a town hall with us. He carried our workers' message across the nation for months. And with his help, we won. He has stood with our workers to protect women in the hotel industry against sexual harassment. When our workers had a dispute at LMU, the site of a Democratic debate, Bernie said that he would not cross the picket line. even if that meant that he had to skip the debate. His strong and unwavering support for Medicare for All is crucial. And let me make one thing very clear. Medicare for All makes unions stronger. My union, like other unions, have sacrificed wage increases and pension benefits for health care. Corporations have used health care as a bargaining chip to keep us depressed. This has got to stop. If health care was treated as a basic human right that it is, our unions could fight for more. We could organize the unorganized. Win wages that keep up with soaring rents. Secure pensions. We've got to retire with dignity. And end discrimination of all types. Medicare for All is a pro-worker legislation, and it will transform our middle class. Lastly, we need immigration reform, don't we? Your vote, our vote, truly matters. You have the right to vote, you must use it. Many people don't have that right and are counting on each and every single one of us. Your vote speaks for people who cannot vote. Listen to this. I know you heard it from others. Your ballots are in your mailboxes or in your homes. Mail in your ballot. No postage required. Put it in the mail today. Voting centers are open tomorrow. No more of one-day polling places. No more. There are big changes, my friends. You can vote in voting centers that will be open every day through March 3rd. No matter what political party you're registered for, or if you have no political party, thanks to a new law, you have a legal right to change your registration on the spot and get a Democratic presidential ballot. That way you can vote for Bernie Sanders. If you have a question on how to do that, go into any voting center and say you want to vote for Bernie. When we vote, we win. 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 Santaneros! Bernie is here! Bernie is here! Let him hear us! To introduce to you the next President of the United States of America.
Thank you, Senator. Let me thank Pato Badhan. Let me thank Jocelyn Garcia, Tracy La, Fayaz Nawabi, and let me thank Ada Briseño for her wonderful remarks and the great work she's doing. Brothers and sisters, this is a hell of a turnout. That's what this is. Thank you. You know, we're getting turnouts like this all over the country, which makes me understand that the people of America want a political revolution. What our campaign is about, two fundamental issues. Number one, together, we will defeat the most dangerous president in the modern history of this country. You know, no matter what your political views may be, the American people do not want a president who is a pathological liar. You know, when you turn on the TV, you want somebody who your kids are proud of, not somebody you are ashamed of. We don't want somebody who is running a corrupt administration in a nation which, from its inception, in terms of how we treated the Native American people, we do not want a president who is a racist, who is a sexist, who is a homophobe, who is a xenophobe, or a religious bigot. We want an administration to understand that we are going to bring our people together, not divide us up. Black and white and Latino, Native American, Asian American, gay and straight. We're going to create a government and an economy that works for all of us, not just wealthy campaign contributors. And the American people understand there is something fundamentally wrong when so few in this country have so much and so many have so little. They understand that it is wrong that 3 people own more wealth than the bottom half of American society, while at the same time, half of our people are living paycheck to paycheck. You all know what living paycheck to paycheck is about. I grew up in a family that lived paycheck to paycheck. And that means you worry that if somebody in the family gets sick, you can't afford to go to the doctor. You worry that if your car breaks down and you can't get to work, you get fired, and then you're not going to be able to take care of your family. And when so few have so much, we will not accept 500,000 Americans sleeping out on the streets of LA or San Francisco. We're going to change the priorities of America. Instead of giving tax breaks to billionaires, money on the military than the next 11 countries combined. We're going to invest in the working class and the middle. Of our people should not be forced to work for starvation wages. Millions of working people should not be in a position where they cannot afford quality child care. Hundreds of thousands of bright young kids can't afford to go to college. That's wrong. And many of you are leaving college deeply in debt. That's wrong. So what we are going to do is raise the federal minimum wage to a living wage at least $15 an hour. We are going to provide equal pay for equal work. Women deserve 100 cents on the dollar, not 80 cents. And because we believe that every worker in this country who wants to should be able to be a member of a union, we're going to make it easier for workers to join unions. Unions help people earn good wages and good working conditions. We believe in the union movement. We're going to grow the union movement. And when we have an infrastructure of roads and bridges and water systems, wastewater plants that are crumbling, we are going to invest substantial sums of money to rebuild our crumbling infrastructure and create millions of good-paying union jobs. And because we believe in our young people, we believe in education. Quality, affordable child care is a right. We're going to bring that about. We're going to triple funding for low-income Title I schools because every kid in America deserves a quality education. And because we believe in education, we believe in educators, our teachers. And I want many young people in this country to consider going into teaching because we need great teachers. We need more Latino teachers. We need more black teachers. We need great teachers who care about the kids. And our goal is to make sure that no teacher in America earns less than $60,000 a year. And because we believe in education, we believe that all of our people, regardless of their income, have a right to a higher education. And that is why we're going to make public colleges and universities and trade schools tuition-free. 12 years ago, the Congress, against my vote, bailed out the crooks on Wall Street. 2 years ago, Trump and his friends gave $1 trillion in tax breaks to the 1% in large corporations. You know, if we could bail out the crooks on Wall Street, we can cancel all student debt in America. And that's what we're going to do through a modest tax on Wall Street speculation. And together, we are going to end the international embarrassment of this great country being the only major nation on earth not to guarantee health care to all people as a human right. Let us be clear. Whether you are rich or poor, working class, middle class, whatever you may be, health care is a human right, not a privilege. And it is not a radical idea to say that every person in this country has a right to go to a doctor when you're sick. It is not a radical idea to say that we should not be paying, in some cases, 10 times more for prescription drugs than the people in other countries. And that is why together we will pass a Medicare for all single-payer program. What Medicare for all means, no more premiums for you or your employers. No more co-payments when you go into a doctor's office. No more deductibles. No more out-of-pocket expenses. And when we take on the greed and corruption of the drug companies and lower drug prices, nobody in America under Medicare for All will pay more than $200 a year for their prescription drugs. Now, we have been talking about universal health care for well over 100 years. Teddy Roosevelt talked about it, beginning of the 1900s. Talked about it, FDR talked about it, Harry Truman talked about it, Barack Obama talked about it. We've been talking about it for 100 years. Now is the time to do it. Now is the time to take on the greed and corruption of the pharmaceutical industry, of the insurance companies. And now is the time to pass a Medicare for all single-payer program. And I want to thank the National Nurses United, the largest nursing union in the country, for their support for Medicare for all. Despite spending twice as much per person on health care as the people of any other country, 87 million of us are uninsured or underinsured. 30,000 people a year die because they don't get to a doctor when they should. We pay the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs, and 500,000 people go bankrupt because of medically related bills. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine somebody being diagnosed with cancer, having to struggle with cancer, and then they got to worry about whether their family goes bankrupt or not? Ain't going to happen under our administration. Now, Donald Trump embarrasses us every day by his bigotry and his ignorance. And there is no area where he is more dangerous than in the area of climate change. So today we say to Donald Trump, that's one way of putting it. But today we say to Trump that climate change is not a hoax, but it is the most dangerous threat facing our country and the world. And I don't have to tell the people of California what drought and wildfires mean. I was in Paradise, California a number of months ago, and I saw what that fire did to that community. Turn on the TV, see what's going on in Australia. See the increased drought that is taking place in our country and around the world, the rising sea levels. See the fact that the United Nations tells us there will be many, many millions of climate refugees around the world. People who cannot live in their communities because there's no drinking water, there's no land to grow their crops. Talk about the spread of disease because bacteria thrive on warmer climates. Talk about the acidification of the oceans and the dying off of fish when so many people around the world get their protein from fish. So we have, according to the scientific community, a planetary crisis. And instead of ignoring that crisis, now is the time to tell the fossil fuel industry that their short-term profits are not more important than the future of our country. I am proud to tell you that we have introduced the most comprehensive climate change proposal ever introduced by any candidate for federal office. And we have introduced that proposal because we have to, because there is no alternative. All right, I want you and your kids and your grandchildren to be living in a country and on a planet that is healthy and is habitable. That is our moral responsibility. And therefore, we will pass a Green New Deal which transforms our energy system away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energies. The future of our country and the planet is at stake. On this issue, we cannot and must not fail. And I'll tell you this, because climate change, as all of you know, is not just an American issue. It is a global issue. We have got to make sure that countries around the world come together. And that means, as president, I'll be talking to the people in China, in Russia, India, Pakistan, Brazil, Latin America, and make the case that maybe, just maybe, instead of spending $1.8 trillion a year on weapons of destruction designed to kill each other, maybe we should pool our resources and fight our common enemy, which is climate change. As Americans, we cannot continue a broken and racist criminal justice system. We cannot have more people in the United States in jail, over 2 million, than any other country on earth, including China, 4 times our size. We cannot today, I don't know if all of you know this, we got 400,000 people in jail right now who have not been convicted of anything because they can't afford cash bail. That is not equal protection under the law. What we are going to do as an administration, working with you and the American people, is invest in our young people in jobs and education, not more jails and incarceration. Here in California and many places around the country in recent years, we've been building more and more jails. I want to build more and more schools. I want our young people to have the job training they need so they can go out and get a good paying job. We are going to not only end cash bail, we're going to end private prisons and detention centers. And I'll tell you what else we're going to do. We are going to end the so-called war on drugs. And on my first day in office, through executive order, we will legalize marijuana in every state in this country. All right, let me ask you all a question, all right? Here's the question. How many people here know of somebody who was arrested for possession of marijuana? We are going to expunge the records of those arrested for possession of marijuana. And instead of allowing a few corporations to control the legal marijuana trade in America, we're going to invest in our black and brown and Latino communities to make sure that the people who suffered the most out of the war on drugs will benefit from legalized marijuana. And when we talk about broken and racist systems, we are going to make profound changes in the immigration system in this country. We are, and I say this, by the way, as a son of an immigrant, a man who came from Poland at the age of 17 without a nickel in his pocket, couldn't speak a word of English, and had very limited education, came to America. So I know a little bit about the immigrant experience. And let me say this. On day one, we will sign an executive order that undoes all of Trump's racist immigration orders. On day one, we will restore the legal status of the 1.8 million young people and their parents eligible for the DACA program. On day one, we will bring major changes to the border policy. No federal agent will ever be grabbing babies from the arms of their mothers. We will not be locking children up in cages. We will end the ICE raids that are terrorizing communities. And we will finally pass what should have been passed a long time ago: comprehensive immigration reform and a path towards citizenship. And when we talk about issues that the American people feel strongly about, all of us, no matter what our political view may be, are horrified and disgusted by the amount of gun violence we see in this country. So let me simply say to you that our gun policy will be written by the American people, not the NRA. And that means universal background checks. It means ending the gun show loophole. And it means doing what the American people now want, and that is ending the sale and distribution of assault weapons in this country. Now, as the United States Senator, I hear a lot of speeches on the floor of the Senate, and I hear many conservative Republicans, talking about their mantra. They believe in small government. They believe in getting government off the backs of the American people, and et cetera, et cetera. Well, I say to those hypocrites, if you believe in getting the government off the backs of the American people, understand that it is women who must control their own bodies, not the government. And my promise to you is that I will never nominate to the Supreme Court or the federal bench anybody who is not 100% pro Roe v. Wade. We will put Roe v. Wade into law. We will significantly expand funding for Planned Parenthood. It is a woman's right to control her body, not the government. End of discussion. So here we are, a few days before the California primary, and all of you know early voting is already underway. And what happens here in California is of huge significance, because this is the largest state of huge significance. Because you are the largest state in the country and you have more delegates going to the Democratic convention. So the likelihood is that the candidate who does very well here in California will be the Democratic nominee. So today, I am here to respectfully request your support. Vote early if you can, and bring your family and your co-workers and your fellow students. Because if we have a large voter turnout here in California, we are going to win here in California. And if we win here in California, we're going to win the Democratic nomination. And if we win the Democratic nomination, Donald Trump is a one-term president. So let us go forward together in this pivotal moment in American history. Let us not allow Trump and his friends to divide us up. Let us stand together. Let us focus on an agenda that works for all of us. Let us create an administration that believes in love and compassion and justice, that understands that as human beings, we are all in this together, that my family has to worry about your family and your family has to worry about my family, and that in the richest country in the history of the world, we can provide a decent life for all of our people. So let us go forward. Let us defeat Trump. Let us transform this country. Thank you all very much.